I've been thinking about um, kind of anxiety about future prospects, especially in just kind of in an unfamiliar setting. Um, it's easy just to feel kind of stuck where you are, just wanting a change of some kind in a job or whatever else. I've thought about that for years and just kind of moved around to different jobs. And anytime there was a type of job that was kind of different than something I'd done before, um, the more different it was, the more anxious I would feel about it, just because it was that far out of my comfort zone. And I would just I had plenty of those jobs I just didn't even apply to at all, or I did apply, but I kind of hoped I didn't hear back about, or in other ways, just not like actually kind of fully putting energy into trying out something different. And I always feel, just because I didn't have that experience already, I didn't know for sure that I could do this thing. It always just felt a little bit out of reach, um, and just kind of scary to do. I would just feel anxious even just imagining myself in whatever this new type of job. I had that experience um, several times with jobs I applied to, and just thinking about other things that I just kind of ended up being too scared to do. But one example is just when I first moved to where I live now out of college. I was just doing some, I say freelance, but that's like a grander word for it. I was just doing like the worst type of low paid, um, kind of like gig work online, just because I was trying to be able to work at home on a computer and that kind of thing. And I was just doing the worst kind of work, and very, very bad, very low pay. And I was I had just seen other jobs pop up, including there was a substitute teaching job at a music program in town, and I was interested in doing that. Um, it's definitely better pay. It was something I was interested in. I thought that it wasn't too far out of the realm of possibility for me. I'd had teaching experience and that kind of thing before. Um, but I just like stopped myself from applying to it for a while, just because I felt it was just like so different from what I was currently doing, even though it was something that type of thing that I had done before in the past, a couple years before that. But it just felt different enough from my current situation that I just got like really over my head and thinking about it. And it took me a long time to even apply to it. Um, and I did eventually start working with this program. Started, and everything was fine, and it was very low key, and I did have some issues there, of course, like any job. There's some stuff going on, but none of the things that I was anxious about. That was all purely just in my head ahead of time. None of that ever happened, and it was all just stuff about me feeling incapable, incompetent. I wouldn't know what I was doing. I wouldn't be able to fill in the time teaching classes, um, any of that type of stuff. Just pure inadequacy, anxiety, and that stuff just never happens. And that's been my experience with pretty much any job I've had, and not that I've done anything wildly outside of the realm of my current experience. But anytime I try and I'm looking at something else, I just feel very anxious about it. I just think like I can't do this. I'm not qualified for this, and I'm not ready for this. All that type of stuff. And a little while ago, and I wrote this down because it was just one of those kind of realizations. When when you actually remember to like take a deep breath and you're not just like going through your day kind of like halfway holding your breath, you like actually get some oxygen in, and your anxieties just kind of go away, and you get like a moment of clear-headedness. Um, well, if you're anything like me, then that's, that happens sometimes. I'm just kind of holding everything, just like kind of tighten my diaphragm. I'm just like not really breathing fully, and then like all of a sudden I kind of like let that go for whatever reason, and I get a moment of basically feeling normal. How you're supposed to feel when you're kind of like breathing breathing accurately, and the anxiety kind of goes. And anyway, I had a moment like that, and I just had the thought of um, thinking about these anxieties about like unknown future situations in a more literal, physical way. And I was just thinking, anything that I'm looking to do as far as job stuff, or moving out of the country, doing a big move, doing a big lifestyle change, anything like that. If I just thought about it physically, I don't have to do to succeed in all of that type of stuff. I don't have to do anything physically that I am unable to do. And by that I mean, for example, I've just applied for a teaching position in Japan, English teaching job. And that's been something that has just kind of like scared me and filled me with anxiety for years, because I just thought like I'm not going to be able to function well in another country, and I'm not ready to like make a big change. I'm not going to do a good job teaching. It's not something I'm comfortable with, and just kind of like all those feelings of inadequacy. And I just thought in that moment, well, all I have to do literally is just be able to stand up, be able to talk, which of course I am able to do, be able to walk, walk around town, walk from point A to point B, from home to the school, to the job. And just thinking about it like that, it just made it feel so simple and so doable. It was just like the most basic level of, regular human stuff that I've done for, basically my whole life since I ever could walk and talk. And I just felt really relieved just thinking about that, because I hadn't thought about it in those terms before. It always just felt like this is something I'm not able to do. I was thinking, it was very heady, I guess. It was all just like in my head about it, and I wasn't thinking literally and physically about the type of stuff. And it's not something like, if for some reason I was like, I want to move to this place, and the only job in this place is I have to be like a professional gymnast or something like that. And it's like that type of thing. For some reason doesn't feel that anxiety inducing. I don't know why, because that's something I definitely don't think I could ever do. But anyway, so just something like physical feats that are like far above my ability, and I don't think that I could ever really get there. I'm never gonna try and do something like that. I'm not applying to some position where I have to do that type of thing, or whatever. I'm not applying to something where I have to like go deep sea diving or whatever. Just anything like that. It's not kind of like outside of the realm of just like the normal things I feel comfortable and able to do. It's all just like, I just have to go to a place, and I have to like talk and write stuff down, type something on a computer, just like the most basic stuff that I've done my whole life. And just thinking about things like that, doesn't have to be job specific. That's kind of what I'm focusing on here, but just thinking about things like that, just thinking about things like that, doesn't have to be job specific. That's kind of what I'm focusing on here, but Really just any kind of like future possibility you're thinking about doing. I think if you just let go of kind of all the thoughts about not feeling ready or um, competent enough to do any of that, if you just get down to like the very physical basics of what you have to do, which is probably not anything you couldn't just do already. Um, I think that it helps just to get those thoughts of not being enough to do that type of thing and not being able to do that. It kind of just helps push those away, or helps you, I guess, realize that those are just thoughts. Like they're not anything real. It's just a thought about something. And the real thing is more of just like actually doing it. And I guess what I'm thinking is if you just think more of being present in your body and not so outside of it and kind of in your head and like thinking about things like that, um, just think about more just like, I guess I'm just saying the same thing I just said, just being present in your body. Um, I guess more of like a whole mind body integration. It's not feeling so separate. Um, it's not being up here and worrying about the things that the rest of me has to do. It's kind of like all integrated. And I think there's a lot of security in that. Just knowing here's things that I have already done, and I could, without too much trouble, or at least within the realm of possibility, I could just do these types of things elsewhere. And I think that's a good starting point. And then if there is anything, maybe you are wanting to do some type of other job or situation where you have to be physical in a way you're not able to right now or you haven't been before. I think if you just start from that point, it's like, well, first, I'm gonna go be a professional gymnast, or or I'm gonna go climb a mountain or something, but I've never done that before. Well, you can always just start from the same point of, well, I haven't climbed a mountain before, but I have walked before, and I have walked up a hill before, and I can go out and find a hiking trail and with a steeper incline that I haven't done before, and I can do that, and then I can go take a rock climbing class at a gym or something, and you can just find all these little steps that are, maybe like one little step higher than what you have already done and you're comfortable with, and you just work that way up, and pretty soon you can go climb a mountain or whatever the thing is you want to do. And if it's not something so physical like that, if it's literally just like a regular job where you go and you talk to people and write stuff down and whatever, then I feel like, yeah, you're already there. You've already, you've been doing that type of stuff your whole life, and just doing that same exact thing, just in a new situation. You're going to be saying different words and writing different things down, but it's all just the same type of stuff that you've done. So anyway, just thinking about that. If I'm ever start feeling anxious about something, I try and just think back to that kind of moment of realization. Just thinking about things in a much more literal way, I think just kind of helps ease all the overthinking and anxiety about it. So anyway, I hope this hasn't been too noisy. There's a lot of like yard work and stuff going on around me. There's some type of like big like technology center or something out kind of across the way from me that always just has a lot of loud humming. So I'm hoping that's not too loud in here. But anyway, all I got about this. Thanks for watching.